Okay, what's up, YouTube? I've reviewed colognes and we talked about other stuff. Now I'm going to get into something a little different. Now, what's the likelihood of the James Holmes case? I know it's getting a lot of hot attention, but we're going to settle, first of all, before we get into this, you've got to understand it is your duty in society to report suspicious behavior. Now, how do I say this or stress it? Well, if let's say you have a friend and he breaks up with his girlfriend, starts saying all this horrible stuff about them, and starts acting different and acting threatening or aggressive and other stuff like that. It is your job to report this. Like if someone's a threat to themselves or others, you absolutely have to take action. They cannot be doing this if you see a kid in art class that suddenly is making violent pictures or violent behaviors or bragging about dangerous stuff or being in a way that is dangerous. You have to report this kind of behavior because otherwise people can end up in situations like this. So what's the likely outcome of this situation? Well, this has been a tragic event that has destroyed the community 20 miles away from Columbine. Now it's making Columbine look like nothing. This has destroyed families for life, and it's destroyed people, and they all have post-traumatic, a lot of them are going to have post-traumatic stress and have trouble holding jobs in the future. But the main thing with the situation, how is the verdict going to go? Well, it's all logic right now, because every state has different mental illness laws. And technically, if a guy has mental illness, that's not a mitigator, because if he premeditates an attack, it's irrelevant. Maybe he hears some voices, but he acts and self-medicates his condition by embracing dangerous stuff. And law enforcement will say, Timothy McVeigh may have had post-traumatic stress, but he perpetrated this attack. James Holmes may have had schizophrenia, but he perpetrated an attack. And because he said on the internet, "Will you visit me in prison?" they can't defend him. And he's probably going to fry because they're going to determine that he has premeditation and wired his apartment. And so this is where you see more mental health cases going through courts. And the way they look at it is they determine if the guy is premeditating stuff, if he is rationally deciding something, and if it looks like he is making a attack and premeditating and having this attitude, he knows right from wrong, and he's doing it deliberately or covering it up, or an offender, or if they get a profile and somebody sees some guy that's being accused of a drug dealer, and then they find that he has 5 Facebook accounts and different names, and he's always going to meet different people, they know he's an offender, and then they can just slam it right down on him because he gets the profile of like James Holmes is going to have probably harsh justice, because like there was a guy that was diagnosed with autism in prison, and they still fried him. They still were going to do it because of the heinous nature of the crime. And James Holmes may have people arguing his mental illness, but then in the long run, the victims and the damage to the community is going to come out. And so, this is a tragic situation. We ought to be thinking about, the impact this has caused. If you think something is dangerous, you report it. That is the way to deal with this kind of situation. Because you'll see so many situations where serial killers and horrible people were hanging out under the radar and people were stupid. And they were stupid and naive. You see, in some of these movies, 20, 30 years ago, they were letting people meet people in a high security place, contact visits. Oh my God, how many riots and how many things have happened since then because of that? I mean, people have understood personality typing more, and now they understand where mental illness affects a crime. Like if James Holmes was going off his medication, ran into a wall 18 times, and was yelling and screaming, people would understand, okay, this is weird. And the DA wouldn't want to waste her time with it. She'd say, send him to a hospital, On the other hand, if he had medication and went off the medication, said he's not going to take it, and then hit somebody, you can't justify that. Or you can't use mental illness as an excuse. No excuse. And you have to understand yourself. And this is where, it's how you don't behave. And, you can't sympathize with what he has done. And you have to feel for the victims that have been destroyed. And this, hopefully this video helps you understand how to size up suspicious behavior. And so, thanks for watching.